Hello everyone, this is Dr. Mandeep Saini. In the last video, we have talked about how can you find authentic articles from your library or how can you find genuine articles from Google Scholar. Now, this video is in continuity, and in this video, we are going to talk about once you find those articles for your assignment or for your research, what can you do or what should you do with those articles. Now, in that, we will talk about the in-text citations, referencing and using quotations. So once you got all those articles, what should you be doing with those articles? That is an important question. Now, to start with, you should be preparing for the citation. You got the articles from Google Scholars and you got the articles from your library based on the keyword search which we have learned in other two videos. Now, what you are going to do with those articles, that is important. What I'm suggesting, that once you got all those articles, so for example you have searched for challenges within a supply chain during the COVID-19 or after the COVID-19. So what you can do, you can list those challenges. Once you got the articles, you can start searching for the challenges based on your keywords, what you have used. You can start searching for those challenges and talk about, for example, challenge 1 you found is lack of communication. Challenge 2 you found the shortage of labor, and challenge 3 you found lack of resources. Now, the number of articles you have, those articles are talking about challenge 1, lack of communication. You can just talk about that, where the challenge is coming from, who talked about this challenge. So as an example, challenge 1, a number of people are talking about challenge 1, which is Sani 2015, Safi 2020, Mac et al 2021, and Norris 2023. So those four people are talking about challenge 1, lack of communication. But the second challenge, shortage of labor, other four people are talking about shortage of labor. And then other four people are talking about lack of resources. Now, once you are writing about those challenges, you already got the citations with you. So you know which articles you need to go and look for when you're writing about that particular challenge. So if you are writing about lack of communication, you just need to focus on those four articles which you already know that these four people are talking about lack of communication. So you go to those articles and whatever information you are getting from those articles, just talk about that information. Lack of communication said by this person, said by other person, and the other person. So you can look for. Now you got to focus on those four articles, that these are the four articles you need to focus on when you are just talking about the first challenge, lack of communication. You don't need to look anywhere else until unless you find something interesting on those articles and you want to do further research based on your further keywords you are using. So that is one way. Now, creating a table like this, that gives you much better opportunity to understand, um, that you can write a critical analysis based on those articles. Now, critical analysis is going to be that person 1 said this, but person 2 have some contradicting view. However, person 3 and person 4, they both agree with person 1. So that becomes a kind of critical analysis when you are talking about lack of communication, which is your first challenge. Similarly, when you're talking about the second one, shortage of labor, then you can also talk about that Micah, Saint, and Vora, they all three talked about shortage of labor, but they have specifically talked about shortage of labor during the COVID-19. But Mohammed also talked about shortage of labor, not just during the COVID-19, but at the same time, a shortage of labor because of Brexit as well. So that could be contradicting views on shortage of labor person to person. So when you have some contradicting views or similarities in the views and you write it in that way, that becomes your critical analysis. Now, when you are writing about shortage of labor, you just need to focus on those four articles and give those citation whenever you're making your argument. So that table gives you much more focus to what you are going to write and which articles you need to focus. So normally what happens when you don't have this type of table, or you don't organize your citation or your the articles you found on Google or library website, if you don't organize in that way, then you will be always confused that which citation is the most relevant citation for that shortage of labor. Similar thing with the lack of resources as well. So what I'm suggesting, once you find all the articles, it doesn't matter it's 10, 20, 15, whatever number of articles you are finding when you are looking for the challenges related to supply chains during COVID-19, Brexit, or Ukraine and Russia conflicts. You might come up with 10 challenges, you might come up with 11, you might come up with 5 challenges only. Always put citations next to it. First thing that tells your tutor that you have done extensive research, you have tried to find the relevant articles on library or Google Scholar, and at the same time you are demonstrating that you have done some research and putting up your citation there as well. So that gives a visibility as well, that you are coming up with 4, 5, 6, or 7, whichever number of challenges you found during the research through library or Google Scholar. You are putting that information into a table and organizing it properly. So your further argument, when you are writing text in the main body, your further argument is related to those articles, and you are using only those citations. So that gives a better visibility to your tutor as well, that you have put some effort on it. So creating a table is, I believe, that is a very good idea when you're thinking about writing challenges and when you are organizing your citations as well. Now, another thing you can do when you have, for example, you got these 3 challenges, you can look for interrelation between those challenges. So interrelation could be, for example, shortage of labor and lack of resources. So that is interrelated. When we talk about labor, that is resources as well. So that means you don't need to keep both of them. Lack of resources might cover shortage of labor, and other resources could be materials or any other resources. So the lack of resources will cover the shortage of labor. So you don't need to talk about shortage of labor separately. You can just rely on lack of resources. So in that way, when you got like 7, 8, 9, 10 challenges, you can always look for the relationship, which you can't do until unless you create a table. Now it is much more visible that shortage of labor is closely related with the lack of resources, because labor is one of the resource. So you can always create an argument that out of 8 or 10 challenges, you are just taking those 2 or 3 most predominant challenge, because other challenges are either inbuilt within those lack of resource or lack of communication. For example, labor is inbuilt in resources, labor is part of resources. So you are just taking lack of communication and lack of resources for your further research or further study or your further argument. So once you got your table organized, now let's see what you can do with the references. You got all the citations arranged based on the challenges. It will make your life much more easier to put citations when you are writing the argument or when you're writing about those challenges. So in the next video, we will watch how to put those citations into your argument and whenever you're talking about those challenges. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video. In the very next video, we will talk about how can you use those citations which you have already arranged through searching the documents on Google Scholar and searching the documents on your library website. You arrange the table now. Your most of the work has been done. Now you just need to write the argument about those challenges and put the citations in your argument. And I'm going to show you how can you use multiple citations in your argument that will give much better critical understanding or critical analysis of your work has been given.